Hey, how's it going? My name's Neil, thanks for joining me, and welcome to my video about elbow pads. Okay, so if you saw my previous video about knee pads, it's much the same story with elbow pads as well. If you ask around in general, people will probably tell you that elbow pads are like the least necessary pads that are available to you, and to a certain extent I would agree with that. But also there's plenty of examples where your elbow is the thing that you hit all the time and you end up getting bruised, and the classic swell bow. People don't seem to pay much attention to elbow pads, but hitting your elbow is probably one of the most annoying and painful things that happens on a skateboard. Now personally, I always wear elbow pads when I skate. I always wear knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards and helmets, and I'm done videos on all of those things. And like I said in the video for knee pads, it's one of those things that back when skateboard pads were starting to be used, it was one of those key points where I think the manufacturers were considering where does protection need to be, and it's all those pointy bits of your body. So your elbows are the bits that stick out quite a lot. So falling on your elbow is going to happen quite a lot. If you don't stick your hands out, maybe your elbow hits first if you fall. It's going to be quite a fundamental part of your body that ends up getting knocked all the time. Normal life, you hit your elbow on door frames and all kinds of things. So they stick out, they get in the way, and it's painful. So when you first start skating, you probably do think about helmets and pads, and you'll go and perhaps buy a set of pads. And the scenario is not quite so important for your elbows as it is for your knees. So in the knee pads video, I talked about how important it is to have very thick padding to assist in the compression from a bale from great height. You need the padding to help with the compression to protect your joints, because the whole weight of your body is compressing on your knee joint, and as you get older, that compressibility inside your joint begins to fail. The fluid between your joints begins to deteriorate. You end up with squeaky joints, for a better phrase, but basically your joints aren't as efficient anymore and you get a lot more pain. You can have introduction of things like arthritis and other complaints within your joints. So when your whole body weight is going down on your knees, you need something very thick and padded to help your knees. Now with elbow pads, it's not quite so fundamental, because with transition skating, you sort of train yourself to bail out of tricks onto your knees as an exit strategy. That's not really the case so much with your elbows. Your full body weight doesn't tend to regularly go onto your elbows. It's still part of the exit strategy. So if you are falling, you can build a strategy where as you fall, you put your elbows out and slide along them to take the strain off of the rest of your body, but you don't fall straight to your elbows. It's a bit like the strategy for using wrist guards and sliding on your palms if you slide into a fall on wrist guards. If you don't wear wrist guards, you can also do the same thing on your elbows. But generally, you don't take heavy impact on your elbows willingly. However, there are times where you will fall and your elbow is the thing that hits first, and so protection is an important thing. So you go to the shop, you think you're going to buy a set of pads, and like I said in the knee pads video, you may well just choose whatever the cheapest ones you can find. And in general, even the cheapest ones are pretty good these days. I've seen some pretty terrible ones actually that are not pads. They don't even belong being sold as pads, to be honest. They're like a very thin layer of something with a plastic cap on them and a thin strap. And the very minimum I would say for sort of knee and elbow pads would be something like these ones from Protec. You can buy them as a set. I think they're called like a street pad set. So you get the elbow pads and the knee pads together, and they're dirt cheap. So first and foremost, go for a reputable, known skateboarding brand, and Protec are that. Also, there's 187 or Boneless or S1, TSG. Any of those brands I would recommend. Even their cheapest pads will be good. But some of these things that you see on Amazon, really don't waste your time. So yeah, this set, I think they were like 30 or 40 pounds for the knees and elbows together in one set. And it's the first set I bought when I started skating again 5 years ago. And they're quite simple, quite straightforward. I mean, there's a decent enough thickness of padding there. They've got a full strap that goes round, and they've got like a kind of sock part, so you slip your arm through and put the strap round. There's a strap at the top and the bottom, and that's good enough for, you know, most scenarios of skating when you are learning, when you're beginning to skate. Once you kind of get to the point where you're getting pretty good and you're starting to skate bigger stuff, especially perhaps big concrete bowls, you're going to need a sort of next level of protection. And the same thing applies, like I was saying in the Kneepads video. Really, it's not so much about the plastic cap or, you know, how strong that is. What tends to be the key factor is how thick the padding of the pad is, because that's what's going to protect the pointy bit and the joint and the fluid in the joints. So you really just need thicker padding at that point. And so the next thing up with thicker padding, or what I bought, is the 187 Killer Pros. So these are the elbow pad version of the Kneepads that I have, that I showed you in that video. And the real fundamental difference is the amount of padding. It's a lot thicker, a lot stronger. There's a full sock insert there, same sort of pads, but you know, the difference, you can see the difference in thickness there. And really, the thicker pad is more protective for bigger falls, basically. Bigger falls. Falls, not fools. So really, that's the bottom line. The thicker the padding, the better. And reputable brands are the ones to go for. So these, as I say, are 187. I mentioned some other brands as well. So I think that's enough really to tell you about elbow pads. A lot of the fundamentals are basically the same for knee pads. So if you haven't seen my knee pads video, I'll put a link in the description below for you to go back and watch that. And you also might be interested in the helmets and wrist guards videos that I've done. And all I'm really doing is telling you what I use after some research. I mean, I've been through a few sets of knee pads, a few sets of elbow pads, and, you know, different wrist guards, helmets. And through experience, I've just sort of found what I like and passing on that information. So hopefully you found the video useful. If you want to tell me about some amazing pads that you found that are just better than anything, by all means, do in the comment section below. If you want to see like the biggest, most almost verging on ridiculous elbow pads that I've ever seen, they would be the Pro Design ones. And if you look up any videos of Steve Alba or Sauber riding in a pool, you'll see that he's got these massive, great big Pro Design elbow pads that just look like sofas. You know, they're huge, great big things. To me, that's slightly overkill, but maybe at his age, because I think he's about 60 or getting there at least, maybe at his age more protection is better. So if it suits him, that's great for him. But yeah, let me know your experiences as well in the comments below. And with that, I'll leave you to get on with your day. But thanks for watching, and take care, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.